First off, I want to thank you all for the amazing support you've shown to the podcast. If you enjoy what listening podcast summaries, please consider subscribing channel. Here is a rundown on if you're feeling uncertain and anxious, you need to hear this, featuring Dr. Julie by Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins has an incredible conversation with Dr. Julie Smith, a world-renowned clinical psychologist, best-selling author, and online content creator who has impacted millions of lives.
Dr. Julie's new book, Open When, is a toolkit for life that helps people handle the ups and downs, and everything in between. The book is filled with bite-sized chapters that provide tools and ways to change how you think when faced with various life scenarios. Dr. Julie explains that the idea for Open When came from her first book, Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before?, which shared insights from therapy and life skills to build resilience. She realized that people needed a manual for life, something to help them navigate difficult moments when they're in the thick of it. Dr. Julie wants to provide people with a sense of direction and tools to deal with emotions, relationships, and moods.
Mel Robbins is excited to unpack the nuggets of wisdom from Open When, which are life skills and tools that can be assembled into a toolkit for life.
Dr. Julie explains that she's been in clinical practice for over a decade and has millions of followers who hang on her videos and are inspired and empowered by them. As a clinical psychologist, Dr. Julie recognizes that life is tough and everyone needs tools to deal with it. Dr. Julie shares a powerful visual representation of the population, using rice to illustrate that 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health problem at some point in a year. She emphasizes that even if you're not struggling, someone you know probably is, and that recognizing this can help you be kind to others. Dr. Julie believes that it's essential to acknowledge that you're not alone in your struggles, and that normalizing your experiences can help you take the judgment out of it and start looking at it with curiosity.
Mel Robbins loves the idea that we all swap positions in life, sometimes being the wild rice going through something and other times being the white rice when things are okay.
Dr. Julie agrees that this perspective gives you hope and motivation to use the tools she shares to pass through difficult times more quickly. Dr. Julie explains that having an emotional toolkit means having skills to regulate negative emotions, not make them disappear. She emphasizes that emotions are a normal part of human experience and that it's essential to take the judgment out of it and look at it with curiosity instead. Dr. Julie believes that everyone deserves to have an emotional toolkit to help them navigate life's challenges. Dr. Julie emphasizes that all emotions, including the uncomfortable ones, have something valuable to offer. However, the constant bombardment of only positive vibes online can create unrealistic expectations, making people feel like they're failing when they inevitably experience negative thoughts. Dr. Julie suggests a more effective approach, thought diffusion. By taking a bird's-eye view of your thoughts, you can acknowledge multiple perspectives and choose which ones to focus on. It's like having a spotlight that you can shine on different thoughts, deciding which ones to give attention to. This approach acknowledges that you can't control all your thoughts, but you can control which ones you give priority to.
Mel Robbins praises Dr. Julie's approach, highlighting its potential to help people manage emotions and thoughts more effectively.
Dr. Julie shares her personal experience with a recent cancer diagnosis, which forced her to confront her own mortality and uncertainty. Despite the fear, she chose to take control by rewriting a chapter in her book, focusing on cultivating courage and becoming the predator rather than the prey. Dr. Julie's approach is not about eradicating fear, but about using it to her advantage. By acknowledging the fear and choosing to focus on a more empowering mindset, she was able to navigate the challenging situation with more confidence.
Mel Robbins notes that this approach can be applied to various situations, from breakups to job losses, and that it's a mentally healthy way to process emotions. She compares the inner world to a sauna, where it's beneficial to stay for a while but not too long. Reaching out to a trusted human being can help regulate emotions. But if that's not possible, simply allowing the emotions to wash over you can be beneficial.
Dr. Julie uses the analogy of standing in the ocean, where the waves will lift you off your feet, but by accepting and bracing yourself, you can land again without getting overwhelmed. Dr. Julie also discusses the dangers of chronic comparison and how it can lead to resentment. She emphasizes that resentment is not a reflection of what the world owes you, but rather a sign of what you need to work on. By recognizing this, you can shift your focus from blaming others to taking control of your own emotions and needs. Dr. Julie's approach is centered around taking control of your thoughts, emotions, and experiences. By acknowledging your emotions, choosing which thoughts to focus on, and cultivating a more empowering mindset, you can navigate challenging situations with more confidence and resilience. Often, resentment stems from a lack of healthy boundaries or a gratitude problem. To overcome resentment, one must take responsibility for holding up those boundaries and practice gratitude. In the context of relationships, comparing oneself to others can be detrimental. When it comes to social anxiety, Dr. Julie advises taking small steps to build confidence. By focusing on the present moment and taking control of one's attention, individuals can learn to navigate awkward situations. The spotlight tool involves shifting one's focus from inward anxiety to outward attention, such as listening to others or finding common ground. This approach helps build confidence and proves to oneself that they can handle uncomfortable situations. Dr. Julie also emphasizes the importance of self-compassion, particularly when it comes to forgiveness. She suggests that individuals examine their relationship with failure and commit to looking after themselves in the face of setbacks. By doing so, they can create a safe space for taking risks and moving forward. Dr. Julie uses the analogy of being locked in a room with a high school bully to illustrate the impact of self-criticism. She also suggests focusing on the present moment and using the spotlight tool to shift one's attention away from anxiety. By building up experiences and evidence of success, individuals can develop confidence and improve their relationships with themselves and others. Dr. Julie's approach emphasizes the importance of self-awareness, self-compassion, and taking small steps to build confidence. By examining one's thoughts and behaviors, individuals can develop a more constructive approach to relationships, social anxiety, and self-criticism. By taking control of their attention and focusing on the present moment, individuals can learn to navigate uncomfortable situations and build confidence. You'd likely feel fantastic, like you're going on a holiday. Since you're with yourself 24/7, it's crucial to have a positive inner voice. Recognizing that you've made mistakes in the past is a sign of progress. It means you're learning and growing. Elite atletes employ coaches who believe in them and help them improve their game with kindness and compassion. You can be your own coach by focusing on the present moment and being kind to yourself. When looking back at past mistakes, it's essential to reframe your thinking. This helps you focus on the present and move forward. Mindfulness is about choosing where you focus your attention. When dealing with uncertainty, it's natural to feel anxious. But instead of trying to control everything, focus on the next few steps ahead. What can you do to move forward even in uncertain times? Believing you have a future is crucial, even when faced with uncertainty. It gives you meaning and purpose. If you don't act as if you have a future, you might miss out on opportunities. In relationships, it's essential to understand that no one is perfect, and it's okay to deal with emotions and stress together. The strongest relationships often come from working through challenges together. When dealing with someone who doesn't want to open up about their emotions, it's essential to focus on what you bring to the relationship. You can't change others, but you can improve yourself. It's okay if your partner isn't as emotionally expressive as you are. Different strengths can complement each other in a relationship. They joke about using humor to repair arguments, and Dr. Julie notes that it's okay for relationships to not be perfect. When it comes to anxiety, Dr. Julie advises her clients to view it as an experience rather than a problem or fault. She suggests that people often judge themselves for feeling anxious, but instead, they should approach the feeling with curiosity. By doing so, they can understand what the anxiety is telling them about their needs. For example, a new mom might feel anxious about caring for her baby. But if she looks at the feeling with curiosity, she might realize that she needs human connection, reassurance, or to feel safe.
Mel Robbins expresses concern that the increasing conversation about mental health might lead people to opt out of things that are challenging but necessary for growth.
Dr. Julie responds that it's essential to understand what matters most to you in life and make decisions based on those values. She uses a tool called values work, where she writes down different areas of her life and rates how important they are to her. This helps her focus on what needs attention and make decisions that align with her values. Dr. Julie also discusses the concept of avoidance, where people might opt out of things that make them anxious. However, this can lead to a shrinking of one's life, making it difficult to live in line with one's values. She uses a visual aid, a wooden rainbow, to illustrate how avoidance can lead to a smaller life. Each time someone avoids something that makes them anxious, they remove a piece of the rainbow, making it smaller.
Mel Robbins reflects on how this visual resonates with her own experiences with anxiety and postpartum depression. She notes that it's easy to let anxiety creep in and shrink one's life without realizing it. However, the visual also offers a solution. By adding back in things that were previously avoided, one can start to make their life feel bigger and fuller again.
Dr. Julie suggests that the first step to doing so is to get clarity on what matters most in life and make decisions based on those values. She realized that her fear was holding her back and didn't want her kids to suffer the consequences. This experience taught her that she could overcome her fears and limitations.
Mel Robbins asked Dr. Julie how someone without kids could find an anchor for themselves to start building back their life.
Dr. Julie suggested that people start by taking small steps out of their comfort zone, like dipping their toe in the water, and then gradually increasing their exposure to the thing that scares them. She emphasized that it's essential to scale it back and not try to tackle too much at once, as this can lead to feeling overwhelmed and retreating back to their comfort zone.
Mel Robbins shared a personal example of how she applied this principle when she moved to a new place and felt lonely. She shifted by leaving the house once a day, then gradually increased her interactions with others by going to a coffee shop and reading a book, and eventually, she began talking to people.
Dr. Julie noted that this approach can be applied to various situations, such as heartbreak, by taking small steps towards facing one's fears and gradually increasing exposure to new experiences. Dr. Julie emphasizes the importance of recognizing that emotions are influenced by many factors, including what we do, say, who we're around, and how we move. She encouraged listeners to take control of these factors to change their emotional experience. Her parting words were that listeners are not alone, and there's nothing wrong with having a hard time in life. She encouraged them to keep learning and applying the tools and strategies she shared to change their lives. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, and just remember, subscription is only £1 or $1 per month. Leave a comment or review. Until next time, happy listening.